everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I will be starting another Unranked to Master series. You guys might remember that I did Unranked to Master, I think it was either earlier this year or even late last year, I'm actually not sure. But I didn't end up finishing it, so I decided I would come back and finish it now. So in my previous series, I started, well, in Silver. The MMR on this account is a little higher. I think it's around like Platinum or so. Oh my god, we're gonna have a level 1 fight. Well, that's different. Okay, well, I'll talk about what I was going to talk about in a sec. That's probably enough. I kind of wanted to go home and spend the gold, but I mean, we can keep chasing. I'm not sure we have time, because even if we... Well, I guess it's worth. Yeah, actually, honestly, it's probably worth. Yeah, actually, okay. My bad. My team are the goats. Oh. Okay, well, this is a crazy start of the game. Anyway, what I was hoping to say is I was going to explain kind of how the series would work. I have a bit less time to do that now. So basically, Unranked to Master, I'm going to focus a little more on just like the basics, I guess. And I'm also going to try and, at least to begin with, play some of the champs that I recommend for people in lower elos. So Ahri is one of the champs I recommend for people in lower elo the most because she's pretty forgiving. And also, like, she has a high skill ceiling still. So there's a lot you can do with her. So to begin with, one of the most important things that you want to do when you start the lane is you want to start getting the push normally. And the reason for that is because with the push, you're going to be able to like force trades. Generally, you don't want to push too fast. You kind of want the wave to perpetually be slow pushing. So you always want to have like a creep advantage, but you don't want to have like such a huge creep advantage that it pushes too fast. So basically what we're doing here is we just see how we're kind of maintaining this creep advantage here to where like we can try and force trades. Now, another thing you can do is when your opponent wastes a cooldown like he just did, you can try force a trade. Sometimes you won't be able to force a trade, but you might be able to like deny a creep or something. Now here, again, that auto attack I did was because he came up to try and CS a creep while his cooldown was down. So that's kind of what you're playing for in the early game, is you're just looking to, you know, harass your opponent when they come up for CS. You're looking to, you know, get push on the wave, and that gives you like level advantages and stuff. And then look to kind of take trades at like good times for you, basically. So here's another good time when he's coming for those creeps. You can see I forced a trade, and that forces him away. I probably won't have time to talk about literally everything I'm doing, so I might come back afterwards and, you know, review anything I think was really important. Some other things that is pretty important is just having a very solid early game. So what I mean by that is just basically not having like any random deaths, and part of that is just warding. I do talk about warding pretty extensively. I have a video on it already, but the short form version of it is basically just try and place a ward and hug to it at around like 2 minutes 30 and around 4 minutes. You can go watch my warding guide if you really want to like optimize it further. But again, for the most part, you're really just looking to keep it simple, place a ward and hug to it. Now, I don't actually think this was worth it. I did try and punish the cooldown. Now, that is something that is a little bit higher level, but sometimes champs are just like stronger than others in the early game. I wouldn't worry about that too much at this level. But for example, like Hui is a really strong lane bully and Ahri is kind of weak in lane. So that could mean that like you might not be able to force a trade as hard as you normally would. But you can see here, like, he's trying to use cooldowns on the wave. I'm trying to then position aggressively and harass on the creep. Because if he's used his Q, right, like that's the ability he's putting points in, that's his strongest ability, we can look to, you know, play to punish, right? Which is quite nice. Now we're fighting in bot river. I might be able to come to this. Oh, I think is going to get a kill. Yeah, we can maybe go for Pike here. Okay, cool. And then we'll just go back mid. So that's pretty good. We've managed to start the game with a fair amount of gold, which is nice. And at this point, what we want to think about is we want to try and get a reset. So generally when you reset, ideally you push out the wave before you do so. And that's so that you don't lose any creeps when you base. Sometimes though, you might not be able to push before resetting, and this might be one of those times. And the reason that is because currently he's a lot stronger than me, right? Like he's got higher health, he's got a full mana bar, and he also has double buffs. So if I can crash this wave, I will. But you might have to accept reality here. If he plays it really well, I probably wouldn't be able to crash it. But I think here he's kind of misused his abilities, which has meant that I should be able to crash this wave. Now, one thing you might be wondering is why am I not using my cooldowns to crash it? It kind of comes back to what I was saying before about punishing cooldowns. So because if I use a cooldown, he's then going to have the window to punish me. So by not using the cooldown, I close the window for him to punish me, or I make it more difficult. So I'm trying to actually hold my cooldowns and just get the push with autos. And that is generally, it's not always going to be the case, right? You can see there, if he uses Q, I feel more comfortable queuing the wave because I know that he can't punish me. But generally, unless you can push the wave really quickly, you typically don't want to use cooldowns on the wave. You want to instead just, you know, get pushed with your autos and save all your cooldowns for use on your opponent. Now, just going to TP back mid here. I'm going to TP back to make sure that I don't lose any creeps. Now, I think this is a mistake from Hui. I think he probably has time to push this wave and then reset. And that would mean that he bases with one extra wave over me, which would be kind of annoying. So anyway, we're going to continue shoving this. And after this, okay, so when you get prior, right, so you get pushed over the wave, we call that prior, short for priority. So we have priority on this wave, meaning that we can move. Generally, when you get prior, you want to go to the side that your jungler is on, because if you can make plays with your jungler, it's generally better than if you make plays apart from your jungler. Especially, oh, I didn't realize he had dash. Okay, I trolled that. Especially if you're playing like a facilitatory champ like Ahri, because it's a bit more difficult to make plays on your own. Now there I made a little bit of a mistake. I mean, to be completely honest, I thought that Graves had no dash, which is why I played it like that. I assumed he had already used it. Now here I'm deciding to stay top, and the reason for that is I want to try and deny as much as I can to this Zac. Now I'm not sure if we can actually do this. Oh, he's so low. Damn, okay, so I think we could have killed him, but little misplay. So we're probably just going to have to back away here. I don't think I can crash this. Well, maybe. I mean, I could look for an... Oh, yeah, he hasn't reset. Okay, this is a little greedy. You could maybe look for an E-flash here, or even just a charm from the bush and get a kill. I'm going to try play for it if he mispositions, maybe when this creep dies. Okay, now, does that kill him? I think it does. Okay, nice. That was a bit cheesy. I wouldn't say that was like a great, well, basically, like, if there you're kind of doing that in the hopes that he messes up, but to be honest, like, that's not, I wouldn't worry about stuff like that. Again, like, the main thing is just playing towards those fundamentals. Again, like, the things were that I pushed the wave, I then roamed to the side that my jungler was on. That meant that we could make a play together, and that basically just means that, like, your plays have a higher chance of working out. Now here we're going to reset. The main reason we're resetting here, oh, actually... the main reason we're resetting here is because we have a lot of gold, we didn't have that many resources, and we... Yeah, actually, it's pretty much those two things. So normally when you're basing, you think about three things. You think about objectives. Are there any objectives spawning soon? That's more relevant to the mid game. It's not super important for the early game. You think about your resources, and you think about, like, your gold. So if you have, like, for example, like a lot of gold to spend, like you have a significant spike in base, or if you're low on resources, for example, like HP, mana, or even cooldowns, like if you don't have ult, that can be a good time to be in base. Obviously, you don't want to base too often, because if you're basing a ton, you're not actually pressuring the map, right? Like every time you're in base, that's kind of like time that is essentially spent dead, right? You're not actually pressuring. At the same time, like if you're on the map with like no HP and no mana and whatever, you also aren't really pressuring. So here, once again, I'm going to try and move all my vision and all my pressure onto the top side. And that's so that I can facilitate for my jungler. Now, I'm going to try and start to force trades mid. The reason is that I have more gold than my opponent, right? Like I have more items. I'm also higher level. I'm level 8 versus level 7. So we should be able to win trades, which is why you can see me trying to get aggressive here. Now that he's level 8, some of those windows, I guess, are diminishing. So we'll probably back away from our trades a little bit. This is kind of normal for Ahri, because Ahri is not particularly good, again, like I said, in lane. She's okay, but she's definitely not a lane bully. Now he again just used like a pretty major cooldown, so I'm just going to try and look for some sort of trade. Sometimes though, you won't actually be able to get the trade, right? But what I can do here is force him off the wave, and that's going to give me, again, prior, which I can use to drop wards. I can use it to, you know, invade the enemy jungle. I could use it to get a base off or something. There's lots of things we could do. Now, potentially, on this next wave, because this guy's taking a lot of damage, I might be able to get a kill on him. So he's getting, like, fairly low. And again, like, I am a little bit stronger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk up to the wave very early and try force him to stay. Walking up... Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I think we can kill him here. I'm just going to play this very slow. You can see here that I'm holding my cooldowns to make sure that I weave in more auto attacks. That's something that's very, very important on champs like Ahri or LeBlanc or Zoe, is that people oftentimes will spam juke back and forth in order to dodge your ability, right? Because they know that if you get hit by a charm, that you're going to end up dying, basically, right? So in that sort of situation, the best thing you can do is actually just hold charm for basically as long as you can, and use it to just get more and more auto attacks off. And because there, you know, even if I hit the charm, without having all those additional autos while he was juking himself to death, I wouldn't have been able to kill him. I'm going to quickly tap this plate and then recall. Really, really important that you get this base off here. If you get stopped on your base, this would be really bad, right? Because I have 1500 gold, which is way too much. I have no ulti, so I'm pretty useless anyway. So this is a really good time to spend in base. Because, you know, I can't really pressure the map anyway without my ulti. So we'll come back on the map now, where we're very, very strong. We have Malignance and Sword Shoes. So what we want to be thinking at the moment is, okay, like, we will just come mid. If Hui doesn't respect us, we'll play for a kill on Hui when we get our ult. If Hui does respect us, then we'll push and try and make plays with Echo, wherever Echo chooses to go. So we'll see. So for now, we can see that Echo is going to Krugs, and we still don't have ult. So for the next 30 seconds, we can't really do anything anyway. This could be a good time to set up vision, because we don't really have anything else to do. So we're just going to push this wave, and then we will... Yeah, it looks like Echo's playing bot side, so we will as well, which means we're just going to come down here and look to take this vision. And I'll place a ward there as well. Now, I have ult coming up in 10 seconds, so probably on this next wave, I want to start doing something. So... if we can, we want to try hit this wave early. Now, Hui's probably not going to let us, but the earlier you can hit this wave, the quicker you can clear it, right? Like, see here how, like, I have an extra... it's not, like, that much, but an extra few autos on it before he even touches it. That means that we get more time. So, we'll clear this. We could counter gank top. We could also go bot. We'll probably go bot here. If Pyke stays, we'll probably kill him. Now, like I said, I could counter gank top. Generally, though, it's just better to play to your jungler's side. It's just way, way more consistent. As long as this guy plays reasonably slow. Okay, well, that's good. Okay, well, in this case, I can just stay bot, because Jin's going to go mid. I probably did have time to still run mid if I wanted, though, which is kind of because, like, since I pushed the wave so early, I have so much time to do basically whatever I want. Now, here, we kind of have a weird decision to make, right? We have a lot of gold, which means we probably want to reset. At the same time, we have ult, and we're full HP and full mana. And this is something that I see basically every time I do a coaching session in the MLA, is people really misunderstanding base timings, either basing too often or like basing too infrequently. And both those like are quite bad, right? Let's see, this should be a pretty winning fight. Because if you base too often, then you're not actually pressuring the map. And if you take too long to base, you know, that's kind of bad too, because you'll be staying on the map with too much gold. So here, now, we probably do want to base. I kind of want to be greedy and shove one more. But to be honest... okay, so Graves is top, which means we... ooh, actually, Hui might... no, Hui's mid. Okay, so Graves is top, which means we can shove one more. Oh, this guy's actually going to fight me. Oh, he has Ignite. I mean, I have ulti. Or, not ulti, the other one. Oh my god, this guy's a beast. Okay, well, I'm gonna die. So I did get punished here for my greed. So like I was saying, I probably should have based after I used my ult, right? I was saying before that I should stay on the map and I should pressure, because I had full HP and I had ulti. After that, I probably should have based. The reason I wanted to stay is because I needed a little bit more gold for my next spike. And as I was saying before, you kind of want to think about certain spikes. So... for example, my spike here that I was thinking about is going something like this. And for that, I needed more gold. Now, to be honest, thinking about it more, that's probably not the item I should buy here anyway. So it was actually pretty troll what I did. I'm going to go... actually, no, that is what I'm going to buy, because I'm going to buy Lich Bane. So we're going to buy... yeah, we're going to buy this. So I kind of got what I wanted, but ultimately, it wasn't really worth it. Now, I could TP here. There's a couple reasons I won't. So one is that my ulti is still down. The other reason is that in the mid game, it's really, really important that you hold your TP in order to side lane. This is another mistake that I see all the time. I think we can actually look kill this guy. That's pretty good damage. I'm just going to play this sort of slowly. Just wait for the cooldowns to come back up again. The thing is, like, against AD carries, they're really, really good at just, like, auto-attacking, like, sustained damage. So you want to kind of play the fight slow when you play against them. So as I was saying, TP is very important for side laning, right? When you go to side lane in the mid game, you want to try farm as many creeps as you can, but you kind of need your TP so that if your team does fight elsewhere, that you can, you know, that you can get to them. So what we're going to do is we're going to shove bot as far as we feel safe doing so, and then we're just going to back off. Now here you see me backing off for two reasons. One, my Echo is top and their Graves is bot, which means it's very, very risky to be making super aggressive plays on this side of the map. Now most likely Graves is down jungle. It would, yeah, that's exactly what I was worried about. It would be really good if Karma came here. I kind of got trolled by my team here. So I think Karma and Jin should come collapse on this Graves because we knew he was here. I think this is the sort of thing that, to be honest, I think in high elo we would have killed this Graves. But I suppose like the actual takeaway you should have here is you really need to look at your teammates. That is a mistake that I think, again, like comes up almost every MLA session, is that I tell people to track their teammates, right? And whether or not your teammate should be here or not, the reality is that if they're not here, then you can't do it, right? Like you only need to think about are they here or not whether they should be there or not. So I didn't play well around that and I got punished for it. Now I'm going to deploy to top. So coming out of base, it's really important that you kind of choose which lane you want to go to. And generally, you want to just go to the lane that's not being farmed. So Mundo's farming bot, my bot lane's farming mid, which means that I'm going to go top. Now I could TP to this fight if I feel like I need to be here earlier. I don't think I do, so I'm going to save my TP. But if you do see an important fight to TP to, again, you can do it. But just realize that it's going to lower the amount of farm you get for the next like 4 minutes or so, because it's going to be harder to side lane. And it just means that overall you have a lot less pressure on the map. So we're just going to continue to shove top, knowing that we have TP. If we need a TP into one of these fights, we can. But until then, we're just going to push the side wave. And kind of the gold standard is if you can get the side wave all the way into the enemy tier 2 turret, that's really, really good. Again, like obviously you can only push as far as you can, like without dying. If you feel unsafe, then you can't. But here, right, like I know some people just died. I know Graves is bot, and I have pretty good vision. So I feel very comfortable getting the wave all the way pushed up. Now, when you do get the wave pushed all the way up like this, you kind of have a decision to make. You can roam mid, you can take their jungle camps. If no one's answering you, you can try to take the turret. But generally, if someone does answer you, you'll need to move. Now, this is quite risky. As you can see, Pyke is next to me, and my Echo is not here. So in this case, because my team is mid, my goal is just not to die to Pyke. I should be fine because I have ulti. I could TP to this, but it looks like I don't need to. And it is really important that you don't like over TP, because like in this case, right, again, I can TP in this fight, but it looks like they don't need me. And instead I can just take this top turret. And a lot of the time, if you can manage to get a tier 2 top lane turret, it snowballs the game so incredibly hard. Like not only does it open the map up a lot more, but it also just gives you a ton of gold. So I'm going to quickly come down here and drop a ward. Now, there's another thing we kind of have to think about here, which is that Dragon is spawning in 30 seconds. So ideally, we would base and spend our gold before Dragon, right? So we can be as strong as possible. But here, I don't actually have my spike, right? Like, Lich Bane is 300 gold away, which means I kind of need to stay because, again, like this, if I base, I can't actually spend that much money. And instead, I'll just be kind of walking out and then having to base again. And you really don't want to have to base like multiple times in a row because it wastes a lot of time. So we really want to get this turret if we can. Probably should have held my charm there, to be honest, kind of like I did with the Hui before. Just let him kind of juke himself, and then eventually I'll be able to get the turret. We should be able to get this pretty soon anyway. I mean, we can probably just ult him here. Just, okay, damage. He doesn't have flash. Okay, very close. He should probably die to Mundo. And then we can just take this turret. Now, if he's a real genius, I think he goes in this bush. Okay, he's not a genius. We would like to get this. If I wanted to play ultra safe, okay, he's gonna steal it. Oh my god, that's that's so much gold. Well, I'm glad he appreciates it. To be honest, it doesn't really matter that much because I got my spike, which is what I wanted. So now's a really good time to base. We had the wave really far pushed up, which means we have a lot of time. We also managed to get our Lich Bane, which is the spike we wanted. And again, we're in base when we don't have ult. So you can kind of see that we're doing a really good job of like maximizing our uptime and minimizing our downtime. Now, this is kind of awkward because my Echo has gone bot and my Mundo's gone top. Ideally, this should be... Actually, Mundo being top is fine. Echo stealing my bot waves is a little bit annoying, but ultimately, you can just kind of play around him at that point. Now, we should just be able to... Oh, okay. Well, they FF'd, so that's going to be GG. It was a bit... Yeah, I mean, I'll go in the replay and really quick show some things because... Yeah, I think when I do these series, I actually find it harder to talk about things because like normally when I do my like high reload games, I feel like I don't need to explain a lot of like the smaller things, or at least like maybe I skim over them a little more, but I really tried to like explain the basics this game. But a lot of the time, shit would just keep happening and I kind of have to move on to the next thing. So I'll explain some of the important stuff real quick in the replay. I'll just honor my whole team because they were good. So let's take a look at this. What would I say the main takeaways were for this game? I think the very important things this game were making sure that whenever I got Prio, that you played your jungler's side. I think that's very, very important. I think it's also quite important just as a general rule, like having those ideas in your head for base timing. So typically thinking about like what is my next spike and how much gold is it, like for example, is it 900 gold or 1200 gold or whatever, and making sure if you can that you don't take too many fights with lots of gold in your inventory. That's very, very key as well. And then were there other things? I mean, I guess in the early lane, doing stuff like trying to punish your opponent when they use cooldowns, trying to get that initial push over the first few waves. We talked about some mid-game stuff as well, like when you should push side lane and kind of like how you should play aggressive and like how you should play safe and certain timings. But yeah, you can kind of see that like this was a very like fundamental based game. And so what I would recommend is take one fundamental from this video. So whether that's like cooldown punishment or side laning or warding or, any of those things. And just like either go and watch like one of my videos on it, because I have like videos on all these things individually in my mid lane fundamentals playlist, or you can just kind of note down some of the things you learned in this game, from that specific fundamental, and then just try and practice them, right? Like maybe you go to your next game and you just decide, okay, I'm just gonna always play around my jungler whenever I get pushed or something, or I'm gonna try and make sure that I either force a trade on my opponent or like attempt to zone them off the wave every time they use a cooldown. Just try and have something very specific that you can work on, but there isn't like too much to chew at once, right? Like it's not so overwhelming that it's difficult to focus on. So that's gonna be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think as per usual in the comments. I will try and reply to everything. So yep, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.